guys with their nails done.
Okay, before I see some keyboard warriors going out on the comment section, saying that this has already been done, and I'm too late for the party, let me say this to you. You are wrong. You may have seen people doing insane damage with Khora with the help of some juicy Riven, but what I will be showing you is an insane red crit WHIPCLAW, which don't require any Riven, nor cats, to see those huge damage numbers on your screen. Also, before we start, I would like to ask that you like this video if you find it informative, and also subscribe to our channel if you haven't done that yet. Now that you know what you can expect with this video, let's quickly move to the build section of this guide. First off, let me explain my Khora build. In the past, I have shown you a versatile Khora build which lets you crowd control and deal damage at the same time. Also, I have shown you a farming Khora build. This time around, we will be focusing our attention to making WHIPCLAW deal insane damage, and be efficient at the same time. The build is very simple. It's just a combination of range, max efficiency, and lots of power strength. Just a quick note, you don't need these arcanes for this setup. These are just luxury items that will somehow give you a little boost in terms of gameplay. Arcane Energize will help you maintain your energy, while Arcane Fury will help your WHIPCLAW do more damage. But again, without these arcanes, the build can still hit a million red crit damage. So where do you usually use this build, squad leader? It's an all-purpose build, lads. You can use it in any missions that you would like to play with Khora. The build is mainly to make WHIPCLAW great, but you can also crowd control with your Ensnare and Strangle Dome. Also, for those of you who are worried about energy, you can always use the Nariman Focus school to maintain it. Anyway, the setup I've shown you earlier only cost 10 energy per WHIPCLAW, 20 for Ensnare, and 40 for Strangle Dome. Honestly, you won't have any energy problem running the build for endurance runs, as enemies will often drop energy orbs. Plus you can use Zanuric's energizing dash. In missions like Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, however, a good amount of energy would be great, since you'll be constantly dealing with energy leech units. Also, it's good to have some form of survivability, especially if you are running solo, since there will be lots of enemies that will constantly hit you. In this case, I advise equipping Adaptation, and then Primed Flow. This is just my personal opinion, but my main goal in doing Sanctuary Onslaught is getting those Vandal parts, relics and ephemeras. It's usually farming, and I don't intend to go beyond 8 rounds of it. With that being said, our Khora doesn't need to have lots of power strength since enemies don't scale beyond level 100 plus at 8 rounds of Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, and we can tweak her WHIPCLAW damage by adding the right mods on our preferred melee weapon. Speaking of melee weapon, I would just like to clarify a very important thing. Some of you are misguided about the rumors that weapon stats does affect how good your WHIPCLAW can perform. That is absolutely wrong. Aside from power strength on your Khora, WHIPCLAW's damage is affected by the melee combo counter, and certain melee mods. Meaning, the mods you equip on your melee weapon will affect your WHIPCLAW damage, and not the stats you have on your melee weapon. Also, as the title suggests, WHIPCLAW have received a massive buff during Phase 2 of the melee rework. Remember when I said that you don't need Riven at all to red crit with your WHIPCLAW? That's a thing now. And many don't actually know that Acolyte mods like Blood Rush, and as well as Weeping Wounds now works on Khora's first ability. In the past, you need specific weapons like the Maya, and get a luxury Riven which cost more than 1k plat, just to deal those insane damage numbers. In fact, the Maya was the meta stat stick for Khora in the past, since not only does it have high Riven disposition, but its innate toxin does work with WHIPCLAW. With that, you can have as much toxin damage to form either a viral or corrosive build for your WHIPCLAW. By the way, if you have a Riven for a high disposition melee weapon, and you are wondering what stats are good for Khora's WHIPCLAW, then I suggest rolling for either critical chance, critical damage, or melee damage. In my case, I was lucky enough to have a Maya Riven that have over 200% melee damage, and 300+% critical chance. But like I've said earlier, you don't need to have God Roll Riven like this anymore. Any melee weapon can be a stat stick for Khora right now. Take note that WHIPCLAW has an innate 200% critical multiplier, 25% critical chance, and 20% status chance. If we put both Blood Rush and Weeping Wounds on this mix, it will guarantee that our WHIPCLAW will yield some critical hits, and as well as get 100% status proc at 12 times combo multiplier. This setup alone can provide you with constant orange and yellow crits at 12 times damage multiplier. But if you add the Gladiator mod's trick on your Sentinel weapon, it will give you red crit numbers all of the time. Not just red crit numbers, but over 1 million red crit numbers against unarmored units. But squad leader, how about armored units? Although you won't see over 1 million damage against unarmored enemies, but still, you will be impressed by how powerful KHORA'S whip against these types of enemies. The best part of the WHIPCLAW buff is the addition of Weeping Wounds. This Acolyte mod is very helpful against high-level units because at 12 times combo multiplier, you will be able to constantly proc the status you have on your melee weapon. In most cases, I used either a viral build or a corrosive build for my WHIPCLAW. Viral does some insane damage against unarmored units. Whenever I get the chance to play on a team, with one member taking care of our energy problem, I always mod my WHIPCLAW with a viral build, plus the Buzzkill mod. Why this mod? Since the damage of WHIPCLAW is distributed evenly between impact, puncture and slash, adding Buzzkill will let our slash be the second highest damage value on our setup, which means it can proc along with viral more often. By the way, since I don't have energy problems with this setup, I always use the Nariman Focus to take care of the combo multiplier decay. Lastly, one good weapon to use with KHORA right now is the Venka Prime. This weapon has a higher combo multiplier compared to other melee weapons, and it works with KHORA'S WHIPCLAW. Long story short, you get a little extra scaling on Warframe ability that are based on combo counter, but it's only an extra 0.25x damage with the new ability scaling. In the end, it's up to you what melee weapon you use now for KHORA, since it will hit hard as long as you have the right mods. So that's it. I hope that I have relayed all the information on how to build a WHIPCLAW KHORA properly. I also hope that after watching this, you now know the true power of KHORA, and why those who mains this frame love her so much. It's not just she's kinky, but she is super strong right now. Go try out KHORA now, and let's see how much damage you deal to enemies using her WHIPCLAW. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, comment if you want to ask something, subscribe for more Warframe content, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.
Look what Operative just found. They could not do this without you.
Multiplier.